Well, good day, Therapy Flow community. We are chatting about something as you're consuming it, the amorphous video conversation. Bottom line, if you're a practice that is trying to grow, that is trying to prioritize things that you can do right now that will convert more clients, help you have a better performing website, and in some of the ways that we're going to get into are very low barrier to entry if you actually know what you're trying to deploy. We're going to give you some really straightforward tactics, especially towards the end here. Developing more video assets to put into your website, to put into your emails, and even to deploy on social channels and otherwise, maybe not to get new followers or to play the social game, but to exist as assets for people to consume if they want to, will help you grow your practice. And I'd make the argument it needs to be a priority for you to take action, even if it's a small piece of action, even if it's one video, to take action before the end of the year here, before the end of the month here. We're filming this in September, to level up your experience that potential clients have with you and your therapy brand. So that's what we're going to talk about today. How do you deploy video and why is it important for your therapy practice? Let's go.
There is a phenomenal book called Zag. As you can imagine, zigzag, right? So go the other way that someone else is going, maybe. And Josh, on your newsletter, you had an awesome drop at the end that was like, hey, by the way, it's easy to do all the plain normal stuff now. Using Canva, having a good logo, like it's just a couple $100 away, or just a great Canva template away, and you can have something that looks really good, actually pretty good, I'd say. And so it's so simple to have some of those like things that maybe were hard to do or difficult to do, maybe 5 or 10 years ago. And now the thing that elevates you to a new level is the thing that's hard to do, right? When people are searching or visiting websites or weighing your Psych Today profile versus another Psych Today profile, or your newsletter versus another newsletter, they're going to look at the one that has a higher perceived production value. There's a psychological effect called the podcaster effect. And Josh, maybe you and I need to lean in on it more. But the podcaster effect is that videos will get higher engagement, and users will tend to aggregate towards videos that seem to have higher production values in their backgrounds. Josh, you have a cool production in your background, right? You've got your plants, you've got your coffee, you've got your books. We got some good stuff popping off. Yeah. But that is a higher production value than maybe even my background, right? All I have in my background is like this little frame and a few other things. And so even just weighing video versus video, there's a perception behind the production value invested in what's happening. And so if you're weighing one website without videos and a website with videos, and a website with videos and a website with videos that have high production value, there's a shift in the direction of where you, a consumer, apply your attention. Who knows why it is? I'm sure that there's some psychologists out there that can break down exactly why that happens. And I'm sure if you go into it a little bit deeper, I'm sure you can find some cool things about it. But that's the fact of the matter. And so yeah, what I want to start is just zag, right? We need to do something different to differentiate ourselves. And it's a little bit of hard work to go in a direction that draws attention in a new, improved way.
Yeah. Running a marketing, coaching, and a practice development company exclusive to therapists, the opportunity to interact with and explore literally thousands of therapy practices, sometimes in a quarter, sometimes in a longer time frame. And we don't work with all of those practices. I get to have conversations with a ton of practices that, maybe aren't the best fit for our services, or are good, but the timing isn't fully aligned and they're going to start later, and that happens. But within that, I ask every single practice, we do a little marketing audit. Hey, what's your lead volume? Where are they coming from? What does that look like? Your starting point for video is probably going to be your website, number one, and we'll get into that in a second. But practices that have gone to their website, I've consumed their content, and I've seen this is correlation, not causation, but the ones with good video content always, always are doing better. And there's two pieces with that. Number one is for our own content. In marketing space, video performs better. We see higher click-through rates, we see higher conversion rates, we see higher consumption, we see higher self-education in terms of the content in your website and the exploration. People want to consume information through visual audio formats more than they want to read extensive amounts of information. It's the delivery mechanism through TikTok and Instagram and everything else and YouTube that people want. So that's piece one. And then piece two, it's also a sign that that individual, that practice is probably putting outsized effort to zig, to do extra things that just make them stand out from the crowd a little bit. If you walk into a coffee shop and every single coffee shop that you walk into just has regular drip coffee, great. That's a normal, regular coffee shop. You walk into a coffee shop and they have some extra fun things, a cold brew drip tower, great seating, whatever else, like, great. That's their 2 seconds of differentiation to maybe attract and see your business and create a vibe. Same is true for your therapy practice. We're going to get tactical. The nuanced view of this is the reality that it's a little bit scary, I think, sometimes to deploy. It's a little bit hard. So sometimes you just don't want to do it and figure it out. The idea of having to get a videographer or get a higher quality camera, figure out lighting, do all of that stuff. We'll give some tips against that today. And sometimes it doesn't feel like the first thing that will produce an immediate return on investment for your time. And that's okay. If you built a website yesterday, maybe you don't have to redo it with a bunch of videos. If you're focused on other things, maybe filming a video in the next week isn't, top of your to-do list. But there comes a time we're going to have to figure this out if you really want to stand out and grow your practice. Let's dive into some of the tactical stuff, Attilio. Why is video content required for growth?
I think it's that added element, right? It's that zag component. It's something different, and it deepens your relationship in a increasingly digital world. So when there's 100 options on Psych today, and everyone's digital, and you have 100 tabs open, if you're the one profile that someone sees a 10-second clip for, and they're like, you know what, I like that vibe, it's homey enough, I'll take a shot with them. Like that one extra click, that 2 extra clicks that you get here and there from just having a video, that's where the magic happens. That's where you start being able to outspend your competition. That's where you start being able to find the clients that actually really resonate with you because they've seen you. That's where it's this little element. It's maybe not very tangible, but it opens up extra elements of scale for you and your practice just by maybe giving you a little bit of an edge. Images these days, they just don't, it's easy. Artificial intelligence can create images for you. So it's really easy to make images now. And so what's a level higher than imagery? Video.
Yeah. So where do we start with actually creating the video so you can start to have that edge? Recommendation number one is put a video on your homepage. In my perspective, this would probably be my first priority of any and all video. If you want to keep it really simple, you're going to probably do anywhere from a 30-second to a 3-minute video. If you want to bring someone in to help you produce it and cut it and script it and all that stuff, great. It's kind of a full kit and caboodle. Otherwise, it can just be a talking head video. I wouldn't make the classic mistake of being like, hi, welcome to my therapy practice. We serve, list off a bunch of things dive in, point them into the right direction. Talk about it in a second, but have a really clear, call to action in terms of why they're here, where they're headed. Go look at questions that are being answered, other pieces there, but start with your homepage. And then I would probably move on to doing individual videos for all of your therapists as the next big priority.
I think I might actually, I maybe have a slightly different perspective rather than looking, in my opinion, rather than looking at um, the location that you should create something for first. I think you should just strictly look at the traffic numbers. Where do most people
Yep.
visit your whatever? So if you have 1,000 people, like maybe you're at the mall and you have thousands of people walking by your office in the mall, this isn't very normal, I don't think. But I think putting a video there first would be really interesting, right? Or just look at where you're getting tons of views. Maybe there's one clinician on your website that for some reason the traffic to your site all goes through that clinician somehow. Like who
Yep.
knows, whatever. Like I would stick the things that are video content just exactly where you get the most traffic. That
Yep.
includes like if you're running advertisements, so like a Facebook ad, instead of having an image, maybe make a video there.
Yep.
Or if you're running Google ads to a landing page, throw the video on your landing page. But I would look almost entirely at reach rather than like create one thing at a time based on like maybe like instead of checklist style, I would just look at the biggest flow, the biggest branch.
Yep.
That might be how my approach would be, is what's the biggest branch of traffic, drop a video there, and you'll be able to tell the difference between the quality and quantity of people interacting with your next step. And I would just be tactical with what's my one source of traffic that I have to cover, and then what's the next source of traffic that I have to cover. And the
Yeah.
truth is, maybe you just have to make one or two videos because you don't have that much traffic. So
And one of the places that I really like to put videos, to kind of Attilio's comment, is like thank you pages or opt-in pages. So they've actually filled out your form and then they automatically, get sent to the next page. And that can be a great place to put like sales content or sales video or more explanation on the process, because every single person who opted in is hitting that next page at that point. And so the opportunity for consumption there is really high and could really, educate or move the sales process forward with some of those pieces. Bottom line, in terms of starting with video content, really we're just trying to check the box of creating a good real life connection. Whether it's your therapist introduction videos or explaining the next step, the goal is to both personalize and actually showcase the real living people behind the process, because people do therapy with other people and they build relationships with people, not with organizations and not with vague, pretty brand colors, but with people. And so that's the starting point for video. When we talk about kind of where should you go with clarifying your video content, maybe Attilio, you can talk about the importance of like a hook at the start of a video.
yeah, I mean, you have about 3 seconds to catch someone's attention. So someone's going to look at maybe like the headline of your video, because most videos, if you have like a YouTube embed or like a Loom, there'll be like some kind of title, or you'll preface the video by saying like, click here if you want some information about blah, blah, blah. They're going to push the play button, and then you have 3 seconds pretty much to catch or keep their attention. And so having that hook there in the first few seconds, that is what's going to make them stay just long enough for you to anchor to the end, be like, this is why you should probably stay till the end of this video. And so there's several things that you have to do in just a few seconds. And so the hook is something that you can test frequently. So it's something that maybe you can try recording 2, 3, 4, 5 different hooks,
Yeah.
and just measure based on essentially view throughs. So how many people are viewing to the end. And the hook is one of the most important things. If you don't catch someone's attention enough to start watching the video and continue watching it, no one's gonna watch your video, and then you just wasted your money and time on making the video.
Yeah. I'll give you 2 or 3 really quick examples because it'll kind of set the tone for a quick video. Option number 1 is to do a question hook. So instead of making your therapist be like, hi, my name's Sally, welcome to, fill in the blank. Prompt them with a question first. And you can throw the question on screen and then just go straight into the answer if we want to do a cut, Or you can like have the person say the question with titles or whatever. So like the person auditorily hears it, be like, hey, Sally, what type of clients do you work with, here at the practice? And what type of things are you guys doing in session to help them heal? All of your therapists would probably be able to answer that question. And they'll take 30 seconds to 3 minutes to answer that question. And they'll probably have a really great answer. And that can be the video on every clinician's profile. If you have a hard time wanting to not create like this stuffy interview, perfect scripted process. Awesome. Use the question prompt for a short or long video. And that makes a great hook. It makes it interesting and easy to film. Number two is the list. So you kind of, hey, thanks for being here. You call out your audience for why they're here. Hey, if you're looking for therapy here in Georgia or here in, Chicago, call out the audience. I'm going to walk you through 3 things in the next 2 minutes. And you're setting yourself up for a process to retain them as you share content and then reward them with a result there. And so call them out, you tell them what information you're going to give them and in how long, and then you deliver that. And that's going to create a really great stick through process. And that's a great video for like your contact page. Hey, if you're looking to get started with our team with therapy, here's the 3 things that you need to know as you fill out this form in the next minute here. And then you give the content and then you do a call to action. And those are great ways to just set up quick, straightforward videos that you can film on essentially a web camera and go through those pieces.
I'll give 2 other quick little tips, especially if you're using video for advertisement. 2 quick things that I think are really, really important that are super subtle, but they can totally tank performance for videos. One is going to be the millennial pause, is what it's called, millennial pause. So for those of you who are maybe millennial level or older, there's a little bit of a delay when you push the play button and you start recording something, right? And so the millennial pause is you don't expect something to quite work just yet. And so basically the idea behind fixing this millennial pause is to go right into action. So go right into action, avoid like the push play, pause, begin. So go right into action if you can. And especially for advertisement, raising the stakes of your video will get you 10x the engagement. And how you can raise the stakes simply is by recording your videos like in public. So like in a public place, so that people have to pay attention because they're like, oh, what's going to happen? They're outside. Like, is something going to happen? So that's an easy way to raise the stakes. Some therapists that we've seen do like TikTok videos. They'll do like walk into a door or walk into an office shot and then have the questions prompted and they're answering the questions. And so like there's other people around, things are happening, and it just raises the stakes of the video. Even if it's just like it's mental health, people talk about mental health in the office and and that's how it is. It raises the stakes for the video. And so consider that, especially on the advertisement side of things. It adds just an extra layer of we'll call it like it's an extra hook. So if you want to be seen or noticed more, those are great ways to be seen and noticed more and increase your playthroughs or view throughs. Great way to spread the good word of mental health through the marketplace.
I think that learning how to develop video content and helping your team or building a team that can help you develop video content, especially if you want to be a larger business, I'm talking, 7 to multi-7 figures, is going to be required. And the requirement of that is only going to appear more and more in the coming years. Within that, though, if you are uncomfortable or incapable of making video content for yourself, that's an issue. There are other ways to solve that. You can hire people, you can get team members that are willing to be presentable on camera. But the reality is when you have a small business with a small budget, those can actually be bigger barriers or more costly barriers than you yourself pushing through the discomfort or not wanting to go, public or film content for your business and some of those things. And that's kind of how I felt when I first started. It's like, do I really have to like film more content or do a Facebook Live or figure out how to put this video on my website? That's exactly how I felt. And then especially when I went to actually go do it the first couple times, you'd hit record, you start to try and do it. I sounded awful. I physically felt awful. I felt gross. I didn't want to watch it back. And really, the only path forward is through that process. And one of the things that I think Attilio and I, we get comments sometimes of like, oh, you guys sound cohesive or you're on the same page or whatever. One of the things that did that is we did 3 live trainings together in our Facebook group for close to 2 years. So 3 times a week, we did close to a 60-minute call together, plus all the other volumes. And it was probably after like 6 to 12 months that the efficacy of just consistent communication through video and the ability to hit record on content became easier. You probably don't need to do all of that, but to boil it down, when you hit play and you're trying to get your 30-second video out, your 30-second ad out, you're totally capable. You're just gonna have to do it, 5 to 10 times before you get a good take. And that's okay, and that's natural. And that's really where I want to encourage you. Because if you have to get your therapist to do this and they've never done video before, it's really important that you can encourage and coach them through the process to get a simple, good video. But you also can't make it too complicated or too overbearing that it's going to be impossible to get any good content from your team.
Yeah, I'll expand on that. I think this is like everyone has 100 bad videos in them and they just need to get it out of them. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Like you have 100 bad videos, you run through the process, you publish it, and it's just like done, ship it. Like you got it out, great for you. If you delete it later, that's up to you. I don't think you need to delete it later, but it's good for posterity's sake maybe. But like you have 100 bad videos in you and you just need to like get them out. And once they're out, you're going to be like a different person. When there was a point in time when I didn't like getting up for Facebook Lives because whatever reason, like it was just like I had to think through what was going to happen. I had to present really great information. I blah, 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 blah. Now I could just rattle them off. Josh and I, we start a thing. We're like, ready. We know the topic, go. And so it's, you just have 100 bad videos in you. You just got to get them out. Do you think Tom Cruise gets scared or nervous when he's on a talk show? Like, no, not anymore. He's been on a million talk shows. And so just take that as it is. It's, if you plan on being in business for a long time, you want to create scale for your organization. Whether you want to be the face of the organization or just the means to an end, video will be a high-powered pathway for you, especially if you're tactical with video. And so just get the videos out of you. Write an SOP for how you make your videos. That way you can train someone else if you decide to scale yourself out of that portion for your practice, and just get it done, I would say.
Definitely. 2 last thoughts here. Number 1 is if you're going to create content for your site, especially like your homepage, your call to action, be really precise about your call to action of what you're requesting that person to do. Keep it straightforward, keep it simple, keep it clear. Don't ask them to do multiple things at once. Obviously, a call to action to, book an appointment or call the number or whatever on your homepage is fine, but maybe there's a request for them to go deeper with content or to go view or make a certain decision about something. You have to think about what is the very next thing that I actually want this person to do. And if they hit your homepage and the very first video is 30 seconds and it's like, great, go book an appointment, but they haven't learned anything else about your business yet, that's probably not the best call to action if you've got a video right at the top of your page. What that video should really be doing is orienting to what's available, and the call to action is maybe to go deeper, visit your services page, or choose the specialty they're interested in and watch your counselor videos and then book an appointment. So just keep in mind, what are you actually wanting them to do? And that is your call to action. And it shouldn't be multiple things. Hey, you can email us. You can fill out your form. You can use our online booking widget. Optimize for one action if you're asking them to do something at the end of your video.
Yeah, I think I'll give one extra note there, and it's uh, a great video will feel like you did work for your client. Like your client shouldn't feel like they now have to do more work. They should feel like, great, I understand what needs to be done, or they answered the questions that I needed at this moment. And so be conscious of the work that you are doing for your client by providing a video. So if your video is just like supplemental fluff, people probably aren't going to watch it. They're probably going to be like, why did I spend 3 minutes watching that? Great, I saw their office like six times, and they're just going to scroll on through. And so I think that's important to note is like you should be doing work for your client. Same as like I would think of it the same way as like your matchmaking or discovery call with like an administrative person or an intake coordinator. Like you do work by matching them with the therapist that fits best. So that way they don't have to go look through your 20 clinicians. You're doing the work for them. You're doing the insurance verification. You're helping them with out of network billing. You're doing work for them. You're helping them. If you can do that, boy, you've got a great video on your hands.
Definitely. Bottom line, kind of final note here. If you're trying to grow your business, if you're trying to scale your business, I'll go back to Attilio's comment at the start. You have to zig in certain areas in order to stand out and in order to move the process forward. And right now, in 2024, and I'm assuming heavily in 2025, going above and beyond to really figure out great video content and consistent new content in your website and other channels is going to be one of the best ways to get after it. If you ask yourself in your heart of hearts, do you want your therapy practice to be above average? Do you want to connect more clients to high quality care? Do you want to make more money? Do you want to actually have to market less? Do you want to have to spend less time on marketing? Better conversion rates and videos will help with all of that, will help accomplish that goal. So invest in some great video and your practice will grow.
See you guys next
See you
time.
next time.